Hawkeyes. Welcome back to the UI Sports SalesCast, presented by the University of Iowa Sport and Recreation Management Program. My name is Charlie Taylor, and I'm your host as we talk ticket sales and revenue generation with sports industry executives from around the country. The UI Sports SalesCast gives our students timely conversations covering multiple topics in revenue generation to help them prepare for their sports careers. Today's episode is special because today we're joined by a UI alum and graduate of our Sport and Recreation Management Program. Tanner Natzke graduated in 2021 and sat in the same seats as our students do today only a couple of years ago. Tanner has had a vast amount of internships with the X Games, the Washington Nationals, the New York Mets, and the Milwaukee Bucks before he graduated. He had joined the Miami Dolphins in sales in June of 2021 and has moved from being an account manager in membership services to account executive in club services. It's always great to talk to a recent graduate and give us some important insight into making that first big step into the sports industry. So with that, I want to welcome in Tanner. And Tanner, although we're online today, I want to welcome you home to the Sports SalesCast. So how are things going today?
I appreciate you welcoming me in, Charlie. I'm excited to be here. I really enjoy giving back to not only the people that helped me get to the position I'm in, but also to those looking to have the same opportunities and same blessings that I've been able to have throughout the year. So I'm excited to hopefully help those listening today.
Look, just a couple of years ago, you were sitting right here in Iowa City, going through our program with Packy and Anna and Dan and all the great professors that we have in the Sport and Rec Management Program. So talk to our students, talk to us about what it was like getting that first position with the Dolphins. What do you know now that you wish you knew then in making this transition?
I think my internships really helped me get to the position I'm at today. And so the transition from Iowa to Miami was less abrupt than most because of those internships. And so some of the key skills that I learned with Packy, with Anna, with Jeremy, and the Sport and Rec Management Program, the actionable skills that I took were reaching out to individuals consistently. And I'm very intentional in what I do on a day-to-day basis, and reaching out to people allowed me to have this network that I love. And so I really think people say it all the time. It's all about who you know. However, I think it really is who knows you. And so the skills that they taught me to reach out to individuals and have those connections, not only did I know a lot of people in the sports industry when I made the decision to come to Miami, but there was a decent amount of people who knew me and knew me well enough to give me that opportunity. And so that was one thing, an actionable skill that the University of Iowa taught me. And the transition from Iowa to Miami was awesome. It was relatively seamless, but it's because I had put myself in those uncomfortable situations early on to have the internship opportunities with the programs that you mentioned before.
Well, you got used to it, right? I mean, I have to guess, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but interviews are uncomfortable. It's not normal to go through an interview and you're asking for a job, but the reality is that's what you do when you're asking for people's money in ticket sales. So I have to guess that uncomfortable situation you learned in those internships really helped apply well when you were in that interview, when you were trying to get and got over that hump to get that job.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've actually still have in a way is this thing called imposter syndrome. And I believe that a lot of college students, and I had it, and I still have a little bit of it today, and I'm still working on it. But it's that thought that you don't belong. It's that thought that I can't reach out to a manager in the sports industry. It's the thought that, hey, pick a team, the Phoenix Suns. I'm a Suns fan. I can't reach out to anybody in the Suns because I've looked up to them in a massive light my whole life, and that's just too far out of reach. And so once I got past that 1, 2, 3, 4 times, now, like you said, now it becomes easier. I don't think it ever becomes easy, but it becomes easier, and you're able to have different conversations and able to bounce different ideas off of different people. and really learn. And so I think it's funny, when I first started going into interviews, I had this list. I had like 10 or 15 questions, and I would just, hey, Charlie, question one, read. Hey, question two, read. Right. And it was, it was awful, is what it was. But after I heard those answers, and then I was able to learn to actively listen. There's an actionable skill, is to actively listen and bounce my questions off of their answers, and in doing so, genuinely learn about who they are, about how the organization works, and that's where things started clicking and things started becoming more comfortable in that sense.
Fantastic insight, and it kind of plays into what our program does. And I want to pick your brain a little bit on this next one. Is that, we try really hard to give real life experiences, right? I think you've lived that. You'll see that. We'll talk even more about it in the next question. But there are certain skills that you needed, right? There's certain skills that you needed to figure out. Give the students today what you took from our program that you're applying to what you're doing today.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I took from Iowa is reaching out and connecting with those individuals. And I think it's hard to put it around like what class I learned that in, or what specific, presentation did that for me. But it's all of what Iowa does. Your in-person presentations, I know Jeremy's working on one right now where you create a team and you go through that. Sport and law, you have to dissect different things that happen, that are real situations in sports. And I remember going through one illustration of a guy got hit with a hockey puck, and who's negligent, and who's responsible for that. But then you present and you go in these small groups, and I think small groups are massive. I know a lot of these large universities, and one of the mantras that I thought coming into Iowa was like, I'm going to be in this massive lecture hall all of the time, and I'm not going to be able to learn. And that is not the case with UI Sport and Rec Management, which is key, because even today I'm working in small groups. Like even in my position today, I'm working in small groups. We're working on projects, small groups competition. We're in a competition right now, and we have our small group that we're working, and we're having breakout sessions, just like class. And you're working on things like, hey, you and I are going to bring 6 questions to the table, and we're going to meet on Wednesday. We're going to dissect which ones work best. Same thing with class projects. And so those small groups at Iowa, and having that ability to present and to get uncomfortable in an environment that you're around your peers, which, giving presentations around your peers all the time, very uncomfortable. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And the professors are always right there as well. And that's something, they're very personable, which is awesome, because they're always there for help. They're always there for questions.
Well, it's great to hear that it's being applied, that we're relevant, and that things are being applied. And it kind of bleeds into our next question a little bit, is that, you really took advantage of all the experiences that you could, and that list that we read off a couple minutes ago, that's impressive. If I was a hiring manager, wow, look at, let's take a look at Tanner. Give everybody some insight into what those experiences were, what they meant to you, their importance, and really what they set you up for what you're doing today.
I think one of the first things to really dig deep into is when people look at that, they're like, wow, that's awesome, you've done all these things. And it might seem like an unreachable goal. But if you do things once a day or every day, if you're reaching out to 2 people a week and having one conversation a week with a sports professional, it just happens. And I can't really explain it, but it's the small things that you do every day that in private, reaching out to people, having conversations like we are now, Charlie, that do these public things that seem, or these things that seem public. And so one of the things that was important to me in doing these internships is I would always go above and beyond what they were asking. Sometimes it was annoying, and so there's definitely a line, right? But I remember when I was in DC, the internship program was not set up to sell. So it was a sales internship, but it wasn't set up for you to get on the phones. And so we got there, and me and my roommate, who also went to Iowa at the time, we were roommates in DC. We set out to be efficient in what we were doing and be intentional in, hey, by the end of the summer, like, we will be dialing out on the phones. And we had never done that before. And that is if you have never dialed out on the phone before, it's extremely daunting and it is very uncomfortable. But that was something that we felt we could do. And so we were a month in and we're bugging our manager like, hey, can we get on the phones? Like, we've been doing this. We're listening. I mean, we're going around the office. We're listening to people. It's like, hey, we can do this. And he gave us pushback for about a month. He's like, no, like, go learn from other departments and go, do the internship things, right? Which was cool because we got to, experience different things. But we kept on him like, hey, we want to get on the phones. And again, there's a line, right, that you can't cross. But we were pushing him in the right way. We ended up both getting on the phones. We ended up both making sales, like in person. And so that was cool. Like, that changed the entire direction of that program. That program now, interns come in with a sales internship and they're on the phones right away. And so the actionable skill, which I'm obviously, you guys already know, I'm very big on, is go above and beyond, but do it in a way that you're intentional about it and do it in a way that's going to help you. Don't go above and beyond and say, hey, can I sit in the box seats for this weekend series because I want to be at the stadium, right? If you're like, hey, I want to work late, like, don't be down on the field watching the game. Like, be doing your job, but continue to push those limits, because we talked about this a little bit. Is things go a certain way for so long, but they have to change or they have to grow at some point. So be that person that pushes them to grow, again, in a respectful manner.
Well, and that's just it. We're in a fluid industry, right? You have a great season, that changes your business model the next season. You have a bad season, it changes your business model the next season. And we talk a lot about being able to sell full menu marketing, be able to sell everything. Some organizations allow that. Some are very much stair steps to sell different products. But it kind of goes into my next question for you, is that you started out selling, I'll call them general tickets. There's no such thing as a general ticket. Every ticket sold is a important piece of inventory and revenue to a sports team. And in, the National Football League, where every game's got to be sold out, for TV purposes, that's critical to the lifeblood of an organization. Now, though, you're handling club sales, usually a more expensive property piece of inventory for a different audience than a season membership or even a group individual type of ticket. So kind of give the Sales Hawks some insight to the difference in what you were selling, but more importantly, the difference of how you sell clubs versus how you sell seasons or groups.
So I think the first thing is not everybody's a club buyer. That is number one. If you dial out 100 times and you could get 100 no's, because not everybody's a club buyer. Not everybody's a premium buyer. If you and I are talking right now, Charlie, we could both probably sell each other $1,000 membership for the season for an NFL team, regardless of what that team is. If you and I call and I say, hey, or you say, hey, we have this $85,000 box and you get it for a single game, probably not selling it. like it takes a certain person. So that's number one, is like, don't get discouraged by not being able to sell luxury items or not being able to sell the big ticket items, because it does take a certain person. However, there is a different way to go about it. Most of the people that I work with now, I run a book of just under 800 accounts. And so most of them are businesses. And again, obviously, I can't get too deep into the weeds of what they are, but most of them are businesses. And so you're going to have gatekeepers or receptionists that are going to take these calls for these CEOs, these presidents. It's building a relationship with them so they trust you. And then the one or two times that you have on the phone with this CEO or president or whoever this may be, is building a relationship with them so they trust you. I have gotten to a point where I've been fortunate enough where I'm in this role for a little bit now, where I've built those relationships, and I'm not slimy. I'm not sleazy. When I came into the sports sales industry, I wanted nothing to do with sales. Like when I wanted to get into a career, like nothing to do with it because I thought it was slimy and sleazy. There's a way better way to go about it, and that's what I'm trying to do is to show and to be that person for people. And so if I'm honest with people, like, hey, you know, we have a decent amount of inventory. You don't have to buy today, but it's Monday. I would probably pull the trigger by Friday. They're going to respect that decision more if that's the truth than if I say, hey, you need to buy on this phone call right now, or those seats aren't going to be available. When if your team just went 2-15, they know that that's not true, right? And so now when I go out to them, 2 or 3 years later, or 2 or 3 weeks later, and things change, maybe we sign somebody, maybe we just got a new coach, maybe something like that happens, and I say, hey, now we're on the same phone call. You need to buy right now. Now they trust me because I built that relationship. And so for me, the reason I've been able to, again, humbly have success in this industry so far is because I'm real. Like I'm real. If there's inventory, there's inventory. If there's if I think those are bad seats, whether this is a big one. You're gonna get me deep into this one now. Is don't sell the most expensive seats every time. It's not worth it. And learn what the client wants. A lot of people, and you've probably seen this too because you know a lot about the sales industry, is there's different ways to sell. And you get on the phone with somebody and you're like, hey, I'm looking for, a couple tickets. And they're like, oh, this is the best seat in the house. Like, you got to sit here. It's like, well, you don't even know me. Like, what if I just want to bring my 5-year-old kid and sit in the upper level because he loves seeing it from that vantage point? What if I want to be in the end zone? What if, it's a soccer game and I really want to be on the goal line? So, because my kid's a goalie and they want to see, that action. So digging in and asking questions is massive, and legitimately and genuinely caring about what their answers are so important, because they might tell you, hey, I want XYZ. It's like, okay, our most expensive product, even though it's going to put money in my pocket, not the best for you. Or I had it the other day, lady called in, said, hey, I want these less expensive tickets. I said, you don't want those. I know you from what you've told me because I've had conversations. You don't want those. Like, you have to go with the more expensive product. So those are some things that I've learned and that have worked well for me.
So it really sounds like, great information, but it leads me to say, and please tell me if you think this is on track, you got to listen, right? You got to take notes. You've got to be able to remember a lot about everybody. Talk a little bit about, I don't even want to call it tricks. It's almost the skill of a critical listening to be able to dive into really hearing, forgetting about what you need to do, right? Was put money in your pockets, hit a goal, win a sales contest. But when you're on the phone with somebody, it's really tuning into that person and their needs. Is that a fair assessment?
It's 100% fair. And I think if you come from and it's a habit, and that has to be who you are, not how you sell. And that's big too. If you're listening, go rewind that one. It's about who you are and not how you sell. Because every phone call that I get on, I actually want to learn. I'm a dairy kid from Wisconsin. If I got a guy who owns a yacht club or a guy who owns, XYZ, I'm like, I don't know anything about this. Like, I want to learn about it. And taking notes is huge. If you don't have a CRM system or you don't have anything like that you can type on, just write them down. And it's small things too. What are their kids' names? If you call the next time and be like, hey, like Charlie, last time you told me their birthday was April 10th, and we're past that now. Like, now he's 11. How is it having an 11-year-old? And they're like, whoa, this ticket sales guy remembered that? Like, and again, don't be researching and know what their kid's middle name is, right? Don't be creepy about it. But it is important to be genuinely curious. And again, that should come from who you are and you wanting to actually learn and not just close the deal and hit a sale.
You may have already given this, but I always try to end every sales cast as we're getting down on time here. What's your advice, right? What can you give? You've been in there, you've been in our students' shoes very recently. What can you give them? What can you tell them as they get ready to do the interviews, as they get ready to go after their jobs, so they get your position and in your seat, and we're interviewing them in a couple of years?
One, take your time. I think some people get caught up and I have to go now. I have to go now, and all these people are reaching out, and there's all these different teams, and where do I start? And they get really, really bogged down with this whole thing, right? And then be intentional about what you want. What I want is not what you want. When I started reaching out, I wanted to be anywhere in the country with any different organization. Didn't matter anything. I wanted a job in sports. And I was really overtaken by how overwhelming it was when I first started. I said, okay, how do I narrow this down? And so if you want to work in the NFL, reach out to teams in the NFL. Like if your final goal is to work in the NFL, don't be reaching out to teams in the NBA or the MLB. If your final goal that you have to have is to be in Charlotte, don't be reaching out to teams in California. And so be intentional about what you want and really take the time to think about it. And if it's like, hey, if I really want to be, let's stick with Charlotte. I really want to be in Charlotte, but if a team in Arizona called, I'd take that job. Okay, well, you don't really want to be in Charlotte then, or you are open to other cities, right? And so be very intentional with what you want. And then I would say you just have to do it. Like at some point there comes a ledge where you can walk up to it and you want to be in the sports industry and you want to be a leader and you want to influence people and create memories and experiences and you want to go to concerts with your friends for free because you work at the stadium and you want to have access to the Super Bowl because it comes to your stadium or the NCAA championships and you want to be in that arena. But you got to jump. Like you can only get so far. You might look at it and you might see it like it's down there, but you got to jump at some point. And so again, what I said earlier, take the time to reach out to individuals and learn what you want. Because if you do it enough, you're going to have the pick of the litter. You're going to know like, hey, XYZ team I really liked because of this. XYZ team I really didn't like because I don't agree with that. And that's okay as well. Find what you like, but really be diligent in what you're doing and be intentional when reaching out. And when you're reaching out, do it in a voice of curiosity. Hey, informational interview. I'm not calling you, Charlie, to get a job. I'm calling you because I've heard your background is awesome, and I would really like to learn about how you got in that position. And hey, while we're at it, you work for XYZ team. Tell me about the organization. Like, let's learn about the organization, because the worst thing that can happen when you reach out to somebody is you learn about them and the organization. That's the worst thing. Like if you're reaching out to another person, that's the worst thing that can possibly happen is you learn about them and the organization.
Tanner, first I want you to say I want to say thank you to you for your time and your advice. Second, I want you to know that everybody back in Iowa City is unbelievably proud of you and continue to watch you grow and succeed. Makes us all feel fantastic for what we do. But third, one, when you're back in Iowa City, you got to stop in and say hi. And I know that you will, but yes. Keep grinding, keep going. We're watching you. We're watching the Dolphins. And again, just want to thank you for your time and giving us a couple of minutes here to dive into this. I know our students are going to take your insight and your advice to heart as they're moving forward. So with that, I'll give you one more quick last word if you want before we wrap up today's SalesCast.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Charlie, I appreciate what you're doing. I think the Iowa Sport and Rec Management program has come a long way, not only since I started, but it is moving in a direction where teams in the industry can't not reach out to Hawkeyes. Like it is getting to a point where people come from the University of Iowa and are so strong in what they do and so passionate about what they do because of the organization that they can't not look at us. And that is where it's like the saying, I don't know, maybe I think it's Kobe. It's like winners don't, now I'm going to mess it up. Like winners don't practice to get it right. They practice till they can't get it wrong. And our program is going in a direction that people can't not look at us, and it's for the right reasons too, which is awesome. And the last thing I'll say too is like if you guys have any questions, I love helping people. I'm doing this for the right reasons. I really like it, so you guys can always reach out to me as well if you have any other questions.
That's a great way to end today, Tanner. Again, thank you for your time. To everybody out there, if you're a UI Sport and Rec Management student, let us know who you'd like to hear from, topics you'd like us to cover, and we'll continue to work to get those folks on and talk about those topics. You'll be able to follow the UI Sports Sales Cast at the official UI Sport and Recreation Management YouTube page. You can also obviously follow both Tanner and myself on LinkedIn. So with that, I want to thank everybody for watching. We look forward to bringing you the next guest on the UI Sports Sales Cast. We'll see you then, and as always, go Hawks.